Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today, we're going to review the Cronos L6015, homage to the Rolex Submariner. Let's start with the wrist check. I'm wearing an Expectanzone SP0012, and Gergo is wearing my Actnight 339. I asked Gergo if he celebrated Guy Fawkes Day yesterday. He said no, he celebrated Red Fox Day and binge-watched Sanford & Son. All right, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this really nice case. It's a zipper case. And look at this. You don't see this very often. Signed warranty card. And if you read the fine print, it says it's good for 2 years. So we got a 2-year warranty card that's actually signed. And it also came with a really nice screwdriver. A lot of these watches come with little cheap screwdrivers, but this one came with a really nice one. And here is the watch. Isn't that a nice looking watch? I really like it. I think we have a real winner here. So if your goal is to have a nice Submariner homage with a on-the-fly adjustable clasp, you don't even have to watch this review. Just go buy this thing. It's great. This is the first Cronos on my channel, even though they have been a steady AliExpress staple with a good reputation. They tend to be a little bit more expensive than the typical watch I review, as I am self-funded and have to buy most of the watches I review. Because of this, I ordered the Lume Pit version, which was $20 cheaper than the fully Lume bezel version. But they sent me the fully Lume bezel version, so obviously I did not complain about this mix-up. I decided that since I was going to review my first Cronos, I would stick with a sub-homage, since that is what Cronos is known for. I chose the NH35 powered L6015 over the L6005 PT5000 version, and I chose the date version as I prefer having a date, and if I were to ever buy a real sub, I would get the date version. It also gives me a chance to review the Cyclops, which would not be there on a no date version. Unlike a real sub, there are many different colorways besides the typical black, blue, and green. There are also white, red, yellow, and light blue bezels. I chose the all blue, which is my preferred color for dive style watches, which is why I'll probably never own a real sub, because you can't get a blue sub watch without any gold in it. The watch is 40.5 millimeters at the bezel, which slightly overhangs the case, so the case is probably 40 millimeters. It's 47.7 millimeters lug to lug with protruding end links. It's 13 millimeters thick if you don't count the Cyclops, and I never do. Has a 20 millimeter lug width and weighs 149 grams on the supplied bracelet with 2 links removed. The bezel is a fully loomed 120 click unidirectional, and the clicks are perfect. The resistance is just right, not too heavy, not too light. You're not going to knock it loose by accident, but it's not difficult to turn, and there's absolutely no back play. And everything lines up just great. So this, once again, the bezel action's one of the best bezels I've ever seen. Really good action. And then we have the dial. The dial has no sunburst effect. If you look at the green one on the ads, it looks like the green one does, but this one does not. So, and it's a little bit deeper blue than most watches. And then we have the Cronos name, but not the logo, applied up top. And then on the bottom in printing, it says automatic 200 meters. And then we have the applied indices, which are sub-style. We have the upside down triangle at the 12. Batons at the 6 and the 9, and dots everywhere else, and they are loomed. And then we have the Rolex style hands. We have the fence post minute hand, the Mercedes hour hand, and the lollipop second hand. And then we have a Cyclops. A lot of people don't like a Cyclops. My philosophy is, if you're going to have a Cyclops, have a Cyclops. And this one is a Cyclops. It properly magnifies the date. You can really see it. So yeah, it looks like I'm tilting it so you can see it, which I am, but that's just because of my camera. But when I look at it straight on, it looks fine. So it's centered just fine. So you have to realize that I'm using that phone camera, so the lens is on the left of me. So that's why sometimes you see weird angles. We have a sign screwed on crown. There's a Cronos logo, which it looks kind of like a hourglass. And the thread action is really good. There's not a lot of resistance, and it pops nicely when you unthread it. Then when you go to screw it back down, everything catches right away, and you don't feel a lot of thread resistance going down either. You never feel like you're going to strip it, which sometimes you do with other watches, so I really like that. Then we have a sapphire crystal, and as you can see, there's not a lot of reflection, so there's got to be AR coating, because this is not my first rodeo, and normally a sapphire crystal would be shining all over the place, but this really only reflects when I point it directly at the light. So yeah, this is a good crystal. You can see through it just fine. My biggest complaint about sapphire is the reflection, and this one doesn't seem to have that. And as you can see too, it's flat and it barely sticks up above the bezel. And then we have the case. The case is a sub-style case. It's just your basic design there. We have a polished sides, and we have brush tops and bottoms, and it looks nice and it does the job. No complaints about the case. And this, unlike most sub homages, they stuck with the Rolex design for the case back. It is just a unsigned screw down coin edge. And if you want to unscrew it, you need a 29.5 millimeter tool to unscrew it, because I checked that, which is good because that's not too big. And more than likely, if you bought one of them coin edge kits that you see available, it has the size in it. I've had a few watches where I had to order different removers because they didn't fit, and this is not one of them. Underneath the case back is the NH35 movement. Once again, if you get the L6015, you can get a PT5000 or an SW200, but I stuck with the NH35 because it's cheaper. And I really wasn't reviewing the movement so much as I was reviewing the watch. So we all know about the NH35. It's a very commonly used movement, probably the most popular movement out there for automatics in this price range. And they're usually fairly accurate right off the shelf. And I don't know if Cronos regulates them or not. So let's put it on the Timegrapher and find out. Here it is on the Timegrapher. So I guess the answer would be no. It just could not be regulated by Cronos. So this just had to be an off-the-shelf NH35, and you get what you get. And right now this is running well within specs though, because the specs are plus 25. So it's running plus 12, plus 14, plus 13. So it's running a little fast, a little faster than what I would like, but it's not ridiculous or anything like that. And it's nice though that it is running fast and not slow, because fast means you can just pull out the crown and hack it and let time catch up, where slow means you actually have to move the hands. So it's always good to be fast rather than slow. And this is not, it's not outrageous, so it's something I could live with. But of course, this is an NH35, so you could take the case back off and you could try to regulate it yourself. And I've never done that yet, but I don't think it's that difficult. The bracelet is a 3-link oyster style, and it has solid end links, and it is not fully articulating. The center links are attached to the side links. And since it came with a screwdriver, as you guess, we have screw pins. And I don't know if you can see the heads there, but they're pretty small. Here, let me wipe this off. The screw heads are pretty small, so you should probably use the screwdriver they gave you. They're not, I've seen smaller, but I've definitely seen larger. And then we have the clasp. The clasp is the star of the show because it's fully adjustable. We got the on-the-fly adjustment there. And I guess what you do is just pull it out, move it to where you want, then press it back in. So no tools are needed, and that's great. For some reason, they didn't sign the clasp, and I guess that's fine. I mean, it would have been nice if they signed it just for grins and giggles, but I can live with that, and I don't think I'd make that an actual gripe and groan. Especially, let's put this way, I can forgive that it's not signed considering that it has the on-the-fly adjustment. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. That looks nice. Wears nice. 13 millimeters is getting a little thick, but not too bad. It has a good wrist roll. Everything is brushed except for the polished sides. So, yeah, it looks nice. Here we are in the Lume room. I ordered the watch with just a Lume pit because it was cheaper, but they sent me the one with the fully Lume bezel. A Cronos is in the upper end of an AliExpress watch, so the Lume better be good. As we speed up the time, we see that we indeed have first-rate Lume. Everything is glowing quite well, and everything appears very even. When we look at the numbers on the bezel, they appear to be fading first, but the bezel batons and Lume pip are doing as well as the rest of the watch. But even though the bezel numbers are weaker than the rest, it is still stronger than most watch Lume, and you can still see them at the end of this 20-minute test. This is first-rate Lume, and I am not at all disappointed. What do I like about this watch? Well, I like the fact that it has on-the-fly adjustable clasp. That's always great on a metal bracelet. Who needs tools? Plus, if you want to resize your bracelet when you're out and about and not at home, you can just do it right then. Has awesome Lume, about as good as Lume as you can expect on a watch in this price. Perfect bezel action, not too stiff, not too light. And I really like the sapphire crystal with AR coating because you can actually see through it. What are my gripes and groans? The Cronos applied name is just kind of hard to see. I think it would have been better if they maybe would have just stuck with the logo. And I'm not gonna, I was thinking about making this a gripe, but on this size of watch, it's really no big deal. I mean, it would have been nice if it had inverted end links, but this is not a 42, 43 millimeter. This is a 40 millimeter, and I think protruding end links is fine. You'd have to have a really small wrist for this to be an issue. That's it. I really can't think about anything to complain about. This watch is about as close to perfect as you can get for a watch in this price range. Do I recommend this watch? Yes. When it comes to a sub-homage, you can't do much better than this for the money. It's got a lot going for it, and there's really nothing to complain about. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Cronos L6015, and I will be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. For some reason, my views have been really down lately, so I'm hoping that they'll pick up. Bye.